not attempt to adjust your dial. It's your boy Big Vern. This is App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. You're welcome. Holla at us. Look up in the sky, it's the bird, it's the plane. Recognize Big Vern, ain't a damn thing changed. How high? So high that I can kiss the sky. Up to the man. Shout out to Method Man, Redman. It's your boy Big Vern, back here at App Stupid, the fastest growing sports and entertainment show on these YouTube streets. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Smash the like button. We like it when you do that. Also, it goes a long way and it supports the channel. And thank you all for supporting us. In our last segment, we talked about Cal and how sneaky good the Golden Bears are and why they should not be overlooked by any stretch of the imagination in the ACC. They could very well end up in the ACC championship game on the opposite side of a Louisville. The only opponent they have in common with Louisville is Miami. So, got to keep your eyes peeled on that one. But we go from the ACC to the Big Ten, and I just got a question to ask. Are you sold on Oregon? And I'm going to say the jury is still out on this one. And the reason why, I don't think that they've been as dominant as I remember Oregon being. And I know when they came into Ohio State and they beat Ohio State at in Columbus, that set a precedent for them. However, I just don't see them being as dominant. You open the season against Idaho 24-14. Okay. I was thinking to myself, wow, this thing could have really exploded and went in different directions. And I guess when you go back and you look at that Idaho game, yeah, they got roughed up by the Ducks in every single way. And one thing that stood out to me was Oregon got goose-egged in the third quarter of that game. It was 14-0 at halftime. Idaho didn't score anything until the back half of that game in the third and fourth quarter. And then Oregon put up 10 points in the fourth quarter to seal the deal. But yeah, they won every which way you could win. 31 first downs. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, they struggled with Idaho. I mean, the final score wasn't indicative of that game at all. So we're not going to go ahead and play games. But when it was 14-7 going into the fourth quarter, you had to kind of be like, what? And I know, Vernon, you can't be a prisoner of the moment. Things like this get away from you. I understand. But when you go and you look at that game that they played against Boise State. Now, Boise State wasn't picked to do anything. They were actually trailing at the half 20-14. They were trailing at the half 20-14 to a Boise State team that wasn't picked to do anything. In the second quarter alone, Boise hung 17 points on the Ducks. And you got to sit here and kind of scratch your head. They rushed the ball down Oregon's throat. 221 yards of rushing. I don't know how you correct this in a couple of games. I mean, they have a rival coming up Saturday when they play Oregon State. But if someone is gashing you, and Boise State, they don't have a huge NIL. Boise State doesn't have 5-star back this and 4-star back that. And they were able to gash you for 221 yards. Are you sold on the Oregon Ducks? And I just don't know. There's not enough sample sizing out there to say, okay, they may be overranked. But I know if Boise is hanging 221 yards of rushing on you, that's atrocious. 19 first downs. You were really in a do or die game against Boise State, the second game of the season. Look, let's get a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Yes, Taco Bell, Live Moz. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at your local Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moz. So when we go over this Boise State game, in a bad way, and when it came to third down conversions, the Oregon Ducks had 12 times they could have converted that third down to a first down. They only converted it 4 times. Repugnant. Just repugnant. Then you had 9 penalties for 74 yards. That is a lack of it. That just shows 2 things. Number 1, lack of discipline. Number 2, attrition. Your defense may be tired. All the jumping off sides, all the movement, and embarrassment. Because the budget, I can almost bet you any dollars to donuts at Oregon, is way bigger than it is at Boise. And these guys came to town and had you all in a survivor game. You almost got upset. And I know I've dubbed it Survivor Series Saturday, where a lot of teams got embarrassed at home, Kentucky being one of them. I don't know how they fixed their situation. I'm really not too sold on your situation. 2 fumbles. You held on to the ball for 29 minutes and 23 seconds. This game really came down to a field goal, 37-34. And I don't believe, had there been time extended in this game, had it went to overtime, I had no faith Oregon would win that game. I had no faith in Oregon winning that game. Ashton Gently, that dude went off. That dude went off. Right now, currently in the season, he's got 45 grabs for 459 yards and 9 touchdowns. He averages a first down in yardage. He showed up with a whooping stick on the Oregon Ducks because that dude put up 192 yards on Oregon in 3 touchdowns and 25 grabs. That's what he did. This one dude terrorized that Oregon defense. You can even line him up as a wide receiver in a slant and give him some slant packages, and they did that. He had 2 catches, 8 yards. And they were for 4, that the average ended up at 4 yards on that. Well, I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to sit up here and act like Maddox Masden. He was the guy who really was an unsung hero. He's a serviceable quarterback. He does just enough. He's not going to throw the game away. They kept him at 40 throws. I still think that's way too much for someone who's trying to manage a game. His skill set may be around, like I said, it may be 40. Because, like I said, he had 148 yards and 1 touchdown. He wasn't going to give the ball away. And he's not an effective scrambler when he leaves the pocket, calling his number twice for 7 yards and breaking that down to 3 yards on the average. So he's not a fast runner. He's doing enough to not throw the game away. And they pretty much had a perfect game plan. And I don't know where you go with this if you're an Oregon fan. Because if you're that deficient at the run game, you're in a conference that primarily runs the ball. When you get down there with rough and tough teams like Ohio State and other entities that play a really good football and attack, I don't know what that does for you. I don't know what that does for you. And looking at the schedule right now, when dealing with Oregon, we'll get into that when we come back from a quick 20 from a rap album we're promoting this month. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. It's your boy Big Vern promoting another rap album this month. Currency and DJ Fresh, The Tonight Show, the sequel, in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on here is Next One with Larry June, State of Course with Paul Wall, Neighborhood Superstar with Payroll Giovanni, Ethereum, First and 15th, and many more. In stores now. Yeah, shout out to Currency and The Tonight Show Part 2. So like we alluded to before the break, they have Oregon State. That's a rivalry. I'm not going to go ahead and pick on that. I think Oregon's favorite to win. We got that coming up. Picks of the weekend. Oregon versus UCLA. I know Deshaun Foster has revamped the offense, and him and Eric Bieniemy together in Brentwood. We've talked about that over the summer. No need to beat that dead horse. Then there's Michigan State. Don't know what that's going to be like. They travel out to Oregon to play them. Then they get Ohio State. That game for them has huge implications because if you lose that game, it's not the end of the world. You can still make the college playoff. But if you get beat up by UCLA and Michigan State, by the time Ohio State runs into you, they just may be there to go ahead and finish you off. You're not going to lose to Purdue. Illinois is one of those sneaky teams, and you don't know what Illinois team you're going to get when they step in town. So that one's a question mark. They go and play out. They got a lot of home games. I'm not going to go ahead and hold you. Then you have to go to Ann Arbor, and you have to play Michigan. I'm not going to say Michigan's not a good team. They've got some definite rebuilding to do. The defense is atrocious. Maryland is another sneaky team. Flying under the radar. We'll go ahead and talk about them. Wisconsin, they play Alabama this weekend. I don't think Wisconsin can beat Alabama at anything. However, they just might be a little bit better after the loss, and they're poised to be season spoilers at the end of the run for the Ducks. And then they finish it off with the Washington Huskies. I like Jed Fish. I've said this many times over when he left Arizona to take the job out in Washington, but I don't think that he's got a system built up yet that can play with the Oregon Ducks. So, again, are you sold? I don't know what the answer is, but I know the good folks in the fan base of Oregon does. Hey, Oregon, let me know in the comments, do I have it wrong? Is Oregon one of the best teams to make the college playoff? Yes or no? This is Big